Today is day 181 of the war with Iran, 6 months into an illegal war that President Trump promised would last a few weeks. And now Trump's extremely unpopular war may be the thing that completely derails his presidency and costs his party control of Congress. Trump's approval rating since the start of the war has dropped, while his disapproval has skyrocketed. The other thing that skyrocketed, the price of a gallon of gas. Before the war, it was $2.98. Today, $4.10. The price of a gallon of regular diesel before the war, $3.67. Today, $5.62. In fact, prices are up across the board. But Trump has said none of that matters when it comes to this war, saying, quote, "I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody," end quote, when it comes to preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. The genesis of Trump's war was May 8th, 2018, when Trump, in his first term, withdrew the United States from the historic Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, better known as the Iran nuclear deal. That decision was made in spite of the intelligence from the United Nations and Trump's own administration certifying that Iran was abiding by the terms of the deal and that the deal was working to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. As a result of that withdrawal and the subsequent reinstatement of harsh economic sanctions, Iran doubled down on expanding its regional influence, developing and fostering its so-called axis of resistance. Iran also started enriching uranium again, past the level needed for civilian use in energy production. And by 2023, UN inspectors found that Iran was getting closer to obtaining weapons-grade uranium, which, by the way, is exactly what the intelligence community said would happen if the U.S. pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal. And the intelligence community was also correct in its assessments about how Iran would respond to being attacked and how the war would play out. In fact, one of Trump's own advisors, his National Counterterrorism Center director, Joe Kent, a former Green Beret and MAGA loyalist, resigned over the war, writing on social media that, quote, "Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation." It's important to remember that this war that we are in is inarguably an illegal war. In the United States of America, the power to go to war does not belong to the president or to his administration. It belongs to Congress. And Congress has not declared war on Iran, nor has it granted the president the authority to use military force against Iran. Trump hasn't even asked for an authorization for the use of military force or a declaration of war. And neither the president nor his Secretary of Defense, the former Fox News host Pete Hegseth, has explained to the American people or Congress the imminent national security threat posed by Iran, which would warrant such drastic measures as these strikes. Iran did not have the ability to strike the U.S. homeland with missiles. And while Iran was close to having weapons-grade uranium, Iran was very far from being able to actually use that uranium to build a nuclear weapon, and was even farther from being able to put a nuclear weapon on a ballistic missile, and yet farther from using that fictional nuclear warhead on the fictional long-range missile from hitting America. Trump has claimed that he doesn't need congressional approval for his war as mandated by law under the War Powers Act because, quote, "It's never been sought before. Nobody's ever asked for it before. It's never been used before," end quote. That's blatantly false. President George W. Bush sought and received 2 authorizations for military force following 9/11. Trump also said the War Powers Act is, quote, "totally unconstitutional," end quote. Yet he also told Congress that it doesn't apply to him because there have been ceasefires in this war, and that means hostilities were, quote, "terminated," which, of course, they haven't been. The House of Representatives has voted twice to end the war, in June and July. The Senate has failed to advance those 2 particular measures. And while the House and the Senate did pass concurrent resolutions to end the war in June, they were non-binding and subsequently ignored by Trump. It's been dizzying trying to make sense of what President Trump has said about his war over the last 6 months. He's called it a war and a mini-war and a major combat operation and a trifle and a little excursion. He's repeatedly said that a deal to end his little excursion is imminent, while also saying in the same breath that he doesn't want to make a deal at all. That may be why he's tasked his former golf buddy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law, the self-described government volunteer Jared Kushner, with reaching a deal. There have been confusing and continuously moving set of goals for this war, including variously unconditional surrender by the Iranians, regime change, a new life for the Iranian people, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, the destruction of Iran's entire military capabilities, and the destruction of Iran's nuclear program and the elimination of its nuclear stockpile. However, after repeatedly saying that Iran would not be able to keep any of its enriched uranium, including uranium dust, even promising to put troops on the ground if needed, to get it, Trump has changed course again, saying it's not unnecessary and only important, quote, from a public relations standpoint, end quote. He's proclaimed Iran's entire army and navy are decimated and that Iran has no anti-aircraft equipment left and that its radar is 100% annihilated, statements which are certifiably untrue given the ongoing nature of the war. The Iranian regime is arguably stronger than before the war, and unless you count replacing one Ayatollah Khamenei with a younger, more hardline Ayatollah Khamenei as regime change, that goal has failed. Iran has also proven to the world that it has the power and the ability to affect the global economy by shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway that was open and free before the war. Trump claims the U.S. is now in control of the strait, which is not true. He also says the strait is now U.S. territory, which is a straight-up lie. And he also said that the U.S. is acting, quote, like pirates in the Strait of Hormuz, which might actually be true. He's also said we're conducting a, quote, very friendly blockade of the strait, which makes no sense at all. Trump has said the U.S. is more respected on a global scale because of the war. Another lie. America's global standing has diminished. So too has America's stockpile of offensive and defensive ammunition, so much so that it threatens America's military readiness. A recent analysis by the Center for Strategic and International Studies reveals that the U.S. military had 2,330 Patriot interceptors in its stockpile before heading into the war. 6 months later, it now has between 900 and 1,270. Patriot missiles cost $3.9 million each. Before the war, the military had 360 THAAD interceptors in its stockpile. It now has between 70 and 170. THAAD missiles cost $15.5 million each. Both of these are defensive missile systems used to intercept Iranian drones and missile strikes throughout the Middle East. Pre-war stockpiles of offensive Tomahawk missiles were around 3,100 before the war. Now we have about 2,000 of them. They cost $2.6 million each. According to estimates from CSIS, Patriot missile orders need a 42-month lead time to delivery. THAADs and Tomahawks have an even longer lead time, 47 and 52 months, respectively. Notably, just 47 new Tomahawks were included in last year's defense budget. We've used 1,100 of them in 6 months. Multiple U.S. military bases in the region have also been attacked and destroyed, with reporting indicating that the Trump administration may not rebuild them because of the cost. Trump's war also saw the first downing of a U.S. fighter jet by enemy fire since the beginning of the Iraq War in 2003. In total, Trump's war has cost tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars, and then there are the human costs. 18 U.S. service members have been killed. At least 758 have been wounded. Despite everything, today, Donald Trump declared mission accomplished via a social media post of what appears to be an AI-generated meme. Mission accomplished was a lie in 2003 when President George W. Bush stood in front of a mission accomplished banner on the USS Abraham Lincoln and declared that the war with Iraq was over. Mission accomplished is a lie today.